Hi everyone, Eric here from Vicious Cycle. Today we're going to take a quick look at the SW-Motech Steel Rack for the back of a KLR650 from Kawasaki. We're going to replace this factory plastic rear rack with this heavy duty great steel rack. We're going to show you the advantages, how you can attach your luggage case to this, and why you're going to want to buy this for your bike. Let's take a look. So the rear rack on the Kawasaki KLR is just a plastic piece. It's fine for maybe strapping a duffel bag or something onto the back, but really doesn't provide any easy way to attach a luggage system to the back of this bike. Can't easily attach a case to it or anything else. So the steel rack that I have in the package here, we'll get it out of the package, we'll lay it on top, and I'll show you why you're going to like this. So I've got our SW-Motech steel rack here, and I'm just going to superimpose it over top of what we have. This factory plastic rack is going to be removed. You see it comes out the back a little bit longer, but you see all these holes and different patterns in here. This is where you can actually attach adapters so that you can directly attach a case, say a top case, to this rack. That way you don't have an adapter bolted onto this plastic rack, which is flimsy, moves, and you don't end up with any of that flop or movement. So this will bolt straight on the top, give us a larger size. It's stronger than the factory rack significantly and allows direct adaptation to a top case. Let's get this bolted on this bike. So basically the first step of our install is we have to remove this factory plastic rear rack. So it only took about a minute to remove that factory rear rack. I'm just going to show once again how we're going to attach this steel rack onto here. So we still have access to our toolkit and everything else. So let's get this thing bolted right up. So because our steel rack hangs out over the back a little bit more, we're moving some of the support from directly here rearward slightly. So we've got to put this little adapter in. There's two spacers down there. I'm just leaving everything nice and loose for right now. That way we have some flexibility. Once we get everything all aligned, we know how we're doing it, then we'll start tightening these down. Because our steel rack is a little thinner than the factory plastic rack, we're going to have to use these little spacers here. We just put one on each corner. That way it lifts our steel rack up to the proper height. So one of our tricks to stop these washers from just sliding away all the time, just take a tube of grease, put a little daub of grease here, right on the surface. You stick that washer right in place, it's not going to move. There's your little trick of the day. So now I have all of our spacers in here. I'm going to carefully try to set this down. And get one of these bolts started, go with the next one. Just if you get it started, just a couple of threads is perfect. You don't want anything to move or shift too far here. There we go. Just going to snug this down now. My next step, I'm going to attach the center of this rack to this spacer piece that we put in here. So now that we have this steel rack, this nice heavy duty rack installed on the back of our KLR, we have to put the appropriate adapters for the case or the accessory, whether it was a Rotopax or, for example, the TraX luggage case that we're going to install on the back of this. So to install our TraX adapters, we already have the pre-threaded nuts down here. We just stack our adapters through, run them down, and we'll tighten up these Allen screws. So now that we have our adapters installed, it should be very easy for us to put a TraX case, for example, quickly on the bike. The case sits far enough back because the steel rack sits farther to the back of the bike. Our passenger won't have any clearance or interference issues, or if you don't carry a passenger, you still have lots of room for a dry bag or a duffel bag behind you still. Thanks for checking out our video on the steel rack. Visit Vicious Cycle.ca if you'd like to purchase.